Hi, and welcome to a brand new series. So, in this series, we are actually going to be building our very own cybersecurity lab. Now, I've actually decided to change the plans from the original plan of building it all in Proxmox first. I figured I would actually make a beginner series. So, this series is just going to be using Windows 11 as our host, and we're going to be using VirtualBox to completely set up our cybersecurity lab. So this is going to mean that whether you just have a single laptop, you're going to be able to follow along and build this lab. It is going to be a very low cost lab and a very simple lab to build out without needing a lot of additional skills. Everything you need, I will teach in this video and this video series actually, because it's going to be more than one video. Today we will actually be setting up VirtualBox. We will also be setting up our network. So in VirtualBox, we're going to be configuring DHCP servers to hand out IP addresses. And that's just going to give a little bit of isolation and give a little bit of practice to be able to actually have a vulnerable network. Our Kali Linux is going to have access to the internet and the vulnerable network. The vulnerable network itself will actually not be exposed to the internet, so it will be completely isolated. But then we will have also another network that we're eventually going to work with, which is going to be a hidden network. So that one, the Kali machine is not going to be exposed to at all, and we will actually have to compromise a host in the vulnerable network in order to access that hidden network. Now, of course, as with all the series that I do and all the videos that I do as well, I will ask you guys for your comments. If you guys want to see a specific thing added in to our lab environment, please let me know. As long as it's like a low cost or free option, I will definitely do my best to put that in place. So there's going to be a lot of learning. I don't want to spoil anything that we're actually going to be learning later on just yet, but just be aware that the first couple machines that we're going to be building, especially today, we're going to be building our Kali attack box. And that we're going to show you how to connect it to the two networks, the host network, so you're going to have access to the internet, but also access to the vulnerable network as well, which is going to be isolated, and show you guys how that kind of looks like from your host Windows computer. And then the next couple machines we're going to be building in the next videos are going to be machines from Rapid7, the Metasploitable machine. So these machines are actually already designed with vulnerabilities built in, which makes it very good for practice. And then, of course, we're going to be adding some defense layering in there as well. But like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of what we're actually going to be doing in this lab. I think it will be a very good lab for beginners, maybe even intermediates, with what we're actually going to be covering. And then later on, we're going to be taking a look at how we can build out this lab in Proxmox or Hyper-V if that's the scenario of where people want. I just got a lot of messages of people wanting to see the VirtualBox first, and I actually do believe that that is probably a better avenue to start practicing for your cybersecurity. It just requires a lot less equipment. So let's go ahead and let's actually just get started here. So the first thing we're going to need to do is install VirtualBox. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to Google or your favorite search engine and just search up VirtualBox, or you can go to virtualbox.org. I will be putting all the links in the description down below. But if we go ahead and we click on VirtualBox here, there will be a Get Started section here with the download button. So we can just click on that download, and then we are going to download the Windows hosts here. Of course, if you are on a Mac or on a Linux distribution or Solaris, you would download the appropriate hosts that you need. And what we'll also want to do is download the VirtualBox extension pack. Now be aware that do not use this in a work environment. That extension pack is really only used for personal use or educational license. So be aware, do not use this in a production environment. This is solely meant to be used on one computer. If you go through the terms and conditions, you will see that. And I have heard in the past of Oracle actually enforcing um, this uh, kind of, I guess, agreement. So they will actually go after you for the licensing fees if you do end up using this. I've seen that in a few forums online. So just want to make that clear. All right, so once we actually have those two things downloaded here, so I actually already have those two downloaded in my downloads folder. So here we have the VirtualBox and the extension pack. Let's go ahead and let's install VirtualBox here. And we're just going to click on yes here. And here we can actually just follow the default install. Now, what might happen if you have a brand new Windows 11 OS or a Windows 10 OS or anything really, you might need the C++ redistributable like I did because I didn't have it installed since this is a fresh Windows 11 install. So you might get an error as soon as you open up that, and then you would just need to download the Microsoft C++ redistributable. I will actually post a link to that as well in the description if you need to get that. But let's go and agree to the terms in the license agreement. And again, this is just going to be a default install of VirtualBox. So we can go ahead and just click next again here. And it will say that it will actually reset the network connection and temporarily disconnect you from the network. So if you are doing this through an RDP session to a Windows box, you might actually lose that connection. But let's go ahead and let's click on yes. And we are going to click on yes again. And I usually actually leave all of these checked. It's kind of handy. It'll create the shortcut on the desktop and make all the registry associations for the file types. We're going to click on next and we're going to click on install here. Now this install doesn't take too long. You will see I don't even think I'm going to pause the recording. This usually does take almost a minute, but it does go pretty fast. There you go. It is already done. So we can actually just go ahead and we can start it if we want. Just make sure that it actually starts up correctly. And there it is. Now, sometimes on Windows 11, you might actually get that this software wasn't installed correctly. You could actually just go ahead and ignore that and launch it. I haven't had any issues. This time, as you can see, it just worked just fine. But that might be because I did that earlier in a previous install. So once we actually have the VirtualBox Manager installed, we can actually go ahead and we can close this because we don't need it right away. What we will want to do is we will want to go to the extension pack that we downloaded. We're going to right click on it and we are going to open that with the VirtualBox Manager. And that will actually prompt you are about to install the VirtualBox extension pack. Extension packs are a complement the functionality of VirtualBox. So this will actually let us do everything that we actually want and need to do with our cybersecurity lab. So let's go ahead and let's install that. And we just need to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the license agreement and we are going to click I agree. And we are going to click on yes again here. And we can see that it is installed because we can see the Oracle VirtualBox extension pack here. So that is perfect. So now the steps that we actually need to do, we can close this. So before we actually go ahead, we can configure our Kali box right now, but that won't give us any benefit because we haven't created our networks just yet. So let's go ahead and let's create the networks. So in order to create the networks here, we are going to open a command prompt. Now you actually do not need to open up the command prompt as administrator for this. You can just open up a regular command prompt. So just to let you guys know, you do not need that administrator here. And what we are going to do is we are going to do cd and we are going to go to C slash program files and we're going to do slash Oracle slash VirtualBox and we're going to hit enter. So now you can see that we are in the program files Oracle VirtualBox directory here. And here we are going to do a VBox manage. And what we can actually do is just do a list DHCP servers here. Now you can see these are the networks that I actually created earlier here. But what we're actually going to do is I'm going to show you guys the commands that I have. So this way you guys can actually create these as well. So we're going to do a VBox manage DHCP server space add space dash dash network equals, and here I named mine Vuln Labs, and then we're going to do dash dash server dash IP equals 172.30.1.1, and then we're going to do a dash dash lower IP equals 172.30.1.20. Now, I did .20, you can do .2 if you wanted, as long as it doesn't have the server IP address in that range, you will be fine. This just dictates the range of IP addresses that you can give. So we're going to give it a range of 30 IP addresses. This is just a very small cybersecurity lab. We are not going to have hundreds of machines, so that is completely okay. And then we are going to have our upper IP here. We are going to make that 172.30.1.50. And then we are going to do the net mask equals 255, 255, 255.0. And we are going to do a double dash enable there. And then you would hit enter on here. So if I hit enter, we will actually already give an error because the DHCP server already exists. Now, in your case, it will actually go ahead and create that DHCP server. You won't get any output, which is awesome. All right, and then we're going to do one more. So actually, all we need to do is do up arrow, and you don't have to retype it all. And then in the network here, we are going to name that hidden vuln labs. And then I gave that the IP address of 10.205.1.1, and then the lower IP is going to be 10.205.1.20, and then the upper IP will be 10.205.1.50. The net mask will be the same, and we can do enable there again. And again, I will get the error message that the DHCP server already exists. So that is awesome. So now we have our networks, we have our VirtualBox installed. The only thing left now is to actually get that Kali machine up and running and get it an IP address. So let's go ahead, let's close this command prompt for now. And let's go ahead and let's go back into our browser here. And now we can go to Kali.org, or again, you can go to your favorite search engine and search Kali ISO, and you will easily find this. But what we actually want to do is click on download here. And what we're actually going to use is we're going to use the pre-built virtual machine. It just makes it a lot easier. You don't have to go through that install. Of course, you can definitely do the standard installer, the complete offline installation. It'll let you set up a user and everything like that. But for us, we are actually just going to go ahead and do the pre-built. So we're going to click on virtual machine here, and there is one for VirtualBox so that you can just download here. Now that will download a 7-zip. Now I actually already have that downloaded here. So in my downloads, we have this Kali VirtualBox here. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to right click on that, and we are going to do extract all, and we are going to extract it just to our downloads folder once again. Now this may take a few seconds to a few minutes depending on your PC. It is still a decently sized 7-zip file. So let's go ahead and let's just pause the recording, and we will come back once it's all done. All right, so once that extract is done, you will have another folder here. Usually you go right into the folder already. And then in here, we will actually see a VirtualBox machine definition and a virtual disk image, which is perfect. So what I usually do is I usually take this box here and I will actually go into my users folder, into my user, into the VirtualBox VMs. I'm just going to paste that in here. It does take a little bit of time. I mean, you could actually extract it directly to here. It's just, it's a lot easier to extract to the folder that you're already in. And there we have the files there. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to double click on that folder and we are going to take the definition file and we're going to right click on that and we are going to open that with the VirtualBox manager. And what that's actually going to do is it's going to actually create that Kali machine purely just like that. We don't actually have to do anything else to have our Kali machine. Now, we will have to do other things to actually configure the network, and we're going to want to make a slight few changes in here just to make sure that we have enough memory in order to do some of the things like password cracking, because with only 2 gigs of RAM, the password cracking using Hashcat can take quite a bit of time. And of course, your machine will just be generally slower. Um, so we'll try to assign as much memory as we possibly can. This computer here I have is 32 gigs, but by all means, I think that even an 8 gig computer can probably run this lab in a very, very basic sense. You might not actually, you would be able to put this to probably 4 gigs, and then the first Metasploitable machine, you would maybe just want to assign it at that point like 1 gig or something. And you wouldn't have all the virtual machines running at once. Probably 16 gigs is probably where you want to be in terms of memory for this whole lab here. Um, and let's go ahead and let's just go into settings now and let's go make these changes. So in here, we can actually already see, so if you aren't already, make sure you click on that expert tab here. This will give you a lot more options, the options that you actually need. And then the base memory here, we are going to want to put that to 4096, which is 4 gigs. The processor, I like to keep it at 2. You can definitely increase this. I have 16 CPUs, but honestly, for the Kali box, I think 2 CPUs is fine. If you ever notice your performance is degrading, you can always just turn off your machine, increase the resources that you have assigned to it, and then go from there. So once we actually have all of that, what we're going to want to do is click on network here. And here you can see we have multiple adapters here available to us. So for the adapter 1, we are actually going to connect that to the bridged adapter. And you're going to want to connect it to your proper Ethernet adapter. So as you can see here on this computer that I have, it does have 2 NICs. Now, in order to know which NIC to actually pick, what you can do is you can go into your settings here and go into the view all network settings. And then here we can actually see the Ethernet that is connected is the first one, and the number 2 is actually not connected. So that is an easy way to know which one you are actually using. And then we are going to want to keep the deny here on the bridged adapter. That is going to be fine. And then on the adapter 2 here, we are going to enable that, and we are going to attach that to the internal network. Now in here, you're going to see there is a drop down, but you're going to say, hey, why am I not seeing the networks that we just created? That's because you actually have to type them out. So it is very important to remember and to not make any typos in that network name. So we're going to type in vuln labs here. And the promiscuous mode, we are going to say allow all. This is going to allow us to do that packet sniffing and traffic monitoring that we want to do later on in the lab. So once we actually have that here, we're going to click on OK. And we can go ahead and we can start this virtual machine here. So it is just powering up right now. And let's go ahead and let's just wait for this machine to start up, and we can actually just go ahead, we can capture that. All right. And it is booting. And if you didn't see it, If you are wondering what the credentials is for this pre-built machine, they are on the website. It is just Kali Kali. Of course, you will definitely want to change that once you actually get it set up as well. So here we are prompted to sign in here. So we're going to do Kali Kali. And you're going to see that the window kind of adjusts. But if you do adjust it, your Kali guess should actually adjust as well. If it doesn't, you should just be able to do the auto resize guest display, and that should resize it for you. All right, so once we are in our Kali box here, let's go ahead and let's open up a terminal and let's do IP address, and that will show us our IP addresses. So here we can actually see we have our Ethernet 0 and our Ethernet 1. We can see here that I have the IP address on Ethernet 0 is the 192.168.50.102, which is my home network. And then we have Ethernet 1, which we actually have the IP address of 172.30.1.22, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and let's actually try to ping these IP addresses from my host machine. So let's open up a command prompt here. Let me just make this screen a little bit smaller, put that here, put this here. So now if we do a ping to the 192.168.50.102, we can actually see that we do get a ping response from that. Now, if we do a ping 172.30.1.22, we will see that we do not get an answer. And that is because that Ethernet 1 is configured on our Vuln Labs network, which is an internal network to our VirtualBox. This is where we are going to be putting our Metasploitable machines in order for our Kali box to communicate with these Metasploitable machines. One last thing that we're going to do on this Kali box before, actually two last things, we are actually just going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see everything. We are going to go into the settings manager here. We're going to go into the advanced network configuration. We are going to go into the wired connection 1, which we can see is our F0. We are just going to want to disable the IPv6. And there we are. So now we do not have an IPv6 anymore. As you can see, we did have one before on Ethernet 0, but now if we actually redo that, we will actually have to reboot in order to actually see that change, but that is okay. All right, so once we actually have done that, we have one last thing that we want to do, and that we are just going to open up a command prompt on, or the terminal on our Kali box, and we're going to do pass WD here, and it's going to be changing the password for our Kali machine. So as I said, the current password is just Kali, and then there we are going to want to put in our own password here. So you're going to want to put in your password that you can easily remember, but it is secure at least. And there we go. And now if I just do a reboot here, and now if you do ever end up being captured in your VirtualBox window and you see that your mouse is stuck, sometimes the machine will let it go if it does have a graphical user interface, but you can hit the right control button on your keyboard and that will release it. You will need that for the Metasploitable machines, as that can sometimes get people stuck and it gets quite frustrating if you do not know that. So now we're going to log in with our new password. Everything is working, which is awesome. And we can just make sure that our IP addresses are showing up correctly, which is awesome. And you can see now our Ethernet 0 does no longer have an IPv6 address, which is awesome. Perfect. So now you guys are already one step further in creating your cybersecurity lab. Now feel free to add machines and connect them to the Vuln Lab network if you want to practice communicating between your two machines. If you want to install any extra tools on your Kali box, I would also recommend to go ahead and update your Kali box as well, and that you can do that through the terminal and do a sudo apt update, and then it's going to prompt you for that password, and then you're going to want to do the sudo apt upgrade afterwards as well, and do all of those upgrades. This way you know that everything is good and up to date on your Kali box. It might take some time because I do think that these machines, usually the pre-built VMs, I want to say are a little bit more behind. Maybe they're the same as the ISO. I actually don't fully know, but I know if you do the weekly one, it's going to be more up to date, but you are a little bit more open in terms of stability is not quite there. But I would do these updates in terms of waiting for that next video. And in the next video, we're going to be setting up our Metasploitable 2 machine, and we are going to be spinning up our Metasploitable 3 machine as well. And that is going to give us a good practice area to be able to practice some cybersecurity pen testing. And then we are going to start getting into some of the other stuff that we have planned for this cybersecurity lab. And like I said, anything that you guys want to see put into this lab, if you guys want to see specific tools like Snort, Wuzza, anything like that, please let me know in the comment section down below. And I will do my best to incorporate all of those into our cybersecurity lab. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out, and I will see you guys on the next video.